Hello students. Today we are going to study the poem A Thing of Beauty by John Keats. Before starting on with the poem, I would like to say you that Keats was a romantic poet. He belonged to the romantic age, romantic period of English history. The speciality of these romantic poets was that these people tried to escape to the rustic or the village life that was closer to nature. Because after the Industrial Revolution, people became and people became very urbanic. People followed a very urbanic lifestyle, and they thought, according to them, all these romantic poets like John Keats, William Wordsworth, a most renowned one, Coleridge, Shelley, all these poets, they thought that the Industrial Revolution has brought forward or given birth to greed, corruption, all these things, all the bad things. So they tried to escape this lifestyle, and they felt like running into the village or the rustic life that was previously followed. This poem is completely based on the theme of romantic poetry, and it praises beauty, the beauty and the importance of beauty in our life. This poem completely deals with that. And this poem is based on a Greek legend or a Greek, you can say, mythology of Endymion. And it is an excerpt, you can say it is a part, it is an extract from Keats' poem Endymion, which is a poetic romance. In this poem, we see that a shepherd, a young and beautiful shepherd, had a vision of Cynthia, who is the moon goddess, and he searches for it. So, this is basically a kind of love romance. A beauty that was seen by this young shepherd was a beauty forever. So, he searches or he quests for that beauty through the forest, under the sea, and everything. So the poem has been inspired by this concept, and let us read the poem. So I'll write the meanings on this side of the page and the figures of speech on this side of the page, so you can actually follow, I hope. A thing of beauty is a joy forever. So a thing of beauty, it is a joy forever. It is a everlasting joy. It gives joy to human life, and it never fades. Its loveliness increases, and with time the loveliness increases. It will never pass into nothingness, and it will never pass into something empty, or it will never be faded. So the perception of the poet regarding beauty, that it never goes off with the passing time. Rather, with time, it more and more it beautifies more and more. So how it has been compared to some of the things like a bar quiet for us and a sleep full of sweet dreams and health and quiet breathing. So a bower means a shady place. I'll write it here. So like the trees or the plants that give us shade, it is such peaceful and such quiet and such relaxing, such pleasant. Similarly, beauty is compared to that, and a sleep full of sweet dreams, and also good health and quiet breathing. So all these things have been compared to beauty. These beauty is as pleasing as all these things for the poet. Therefore beauty is like a beautiful shady tree. One second, a happy person who is sleeping with full sweet dreams, and a person who is enjoying good health. So all these things are compared to beauty. So we can say that in this line, sleep and sweet, this is referred to as alliteration, that is repetition of consonant sound. A bower quiet for us is a metaphor, because here bower has been compared to the calmness of life, or the calmness or pleasant feeling actually. Moving on, therefore on every morrow are we reading a flowery band to bind us to the earth. So every morning we get that charm. Morrow means morning. We get that charm like in a wreath. Wreath is a flower that is circle in shape. Have you seen this kind of things? Flowers are with leaves are stuck in a circle, bound in a circle. This is called a wreath. So like flowers are attached, bounded to this ring, similarly we are bounded to earth because of the charm of beauty. Spite of despondence, inhuman dearth of noble natures, gloomy days, and of all the unhealthy and overdarkened ways made for our searching. So, despondence means depression. So, instead of all the depression or sadness or gloomy days or unhealthy days or darkened days, that is the problems and the obstacles of our life made for us that we have been facing in our life, in our day to day life. Yes, in spite of all, some shape of beauty moves away the pall from our dark spirits. So, there is some beauty in some form helps us to move away the pall. Pall means the veil or the situation, in this case the situation, and it removes darkness from our spirits, from our dark spirits. So beauty in some form comes and it removes the darkness from our life. So in spite of all of these things, we are bound to the earth. We wish to leave. So you can write some meanings over here. Gloomy means sad. Wreathing means surrounded, you can say. Okay, moving on. Such the sun. Acha, before moving on, I would like to say the literary devices over here. Of noble natures, and these two lines are anaphora. Wreathing a flowery band can be said to be a metaphor. Okay. Such the sun, the moon, trees old and young, sprouting a shady boon for simple sheep, and such are daffodils with green world they live in, and clear reels that for themselves a cooling convert make against the hot season and mid forest break. So here the poet describes the beautiful things of the art like the sun, the moon, the old trees and young trees that are sprouting, and some are giving shades. So all these things are boons, boons for the simple sheep, that is we, the creature. We are blessed to have all these things with us. And the poet says that all these things are like a blessing that is bestowed upon us by God Himself, the mighty God, the Almighty. And he further describes the trees provide us with their shade, and the flowers in their beauty, and the river with their coolness. So the daffodils, here is a flower which pleases us with its beauty, and the river with its the reels, that is the rivers with its coolness in the hot season, and mid forest break. And all these things are boon for us. All these things are a blessing for us. So again, simple sheep, sprouting shady, all these are alliterations. Repetition of consonant sound, alliteration. And this contains old opposite words together. So this can be said as antithesis. Rich with a sprinkling of fair musk rose blooms, and such too is the grandeur of the dooms we have imagined for the mighty dead, and all lovely tales that we have heard or read, an endless fountain of immortal drink pouring unto us from the heavens brink. So here what the poet says that he further carries on with the description, And there are more, he says that there are more beautiful things on the art, such as the beautiful musk roses that contains beautiful fragrance, or it has a very sweet smell. And there are also grandeur of the domes, that is the soldiers fighting the war for their family. Soldiers fighting the war for their family is another thing of beauty, because they are giving their lives for their country. Soldiers fighting. You can say that this is a, I mean, fight for humanity. So that is beauty. Anything done for the betterment of the humanity is a thing of beauty. So the soldiers fighting here is a thing of beauty. So we have imagined for the dead, mighty dead, all the lovely tales we have heard or read. So whatever we have read, whatever we have seen or understood or read about these soldiers, those are all beautiful things. And all these things are like an endless fountain in the of immortal drink. So it is like a nectar, it is like a immortal drink that has been given to us by the god. That is, it is a endless fountain. Beauty never ends. So it is an endless fountain of beauty that has been poured upon us, unto us, from the heaven, from by the god, from the heavens brink. Brink means the edge of the heaven, that is the heaven itself. So god is providing us with all these things, all the things of beauty. So here again, have heard is alliteration. And the stanza is full of rhymes, so you can say it is rhyming. Immortal drink is a metaphor, because beautiful object of nature are forever like never ending portion of drink. It is has been compared to the immortal drink, has been compared to the never ending things on the earth that nature provides us with. So it is metaphor in direct comparison with the natural things of the earth that are endless. And imageries are used. Imageries means pictures, like we can, by reading the poem, we can imagine the picture of the fair mask rose, or maybe soldiers fighting, or maybe imaginative situation of the heaven, or the daffodils, or the rivers. All these things are images, so it has a many imageries. Heaven's brink, you can say the door of the god's home. So it is from the brink, from the edge of heaven, it is pouring upon us. Beauty is poured by god upon us. So that is all. Thank you.